You know who we are, Scoopy Radio. We are in there like swimwear. Make sure that you check out Scoopy Radio on all streaming platforms, Google Play, TuneIn app, Stitcher app, iHeartRadio, Spotify, everywhere, or simply visit our archive at Scoop B Radio. You can find it everywhere, I promise you. And joining us on the show today, needs no introduction, but he's an influencer. He is a cultural artisan. He is a guy that is connected to your favorite guy. But most importantly, he's a good person. Adam Harrington joins us on Scoopy Radio. Brother, what's going on?
Not much, man. Thanks for having me. So excited to be here. Like we talked about before, man, I just want to thank you for who you are. I really enjoy getting to know you over these last few months. And you've poured into me more than you know, but you're one of the most positive, encouraging people, let alone to me, but just out there, especially in the social media space where there's not a lot of positivity, man. But you are so refreshing. So I thank you, and I'm excited to talk life, hoops, family, basketball, everything for these next 30 minutes.
All that. And brother, listen, we just got to be honest with the folks. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, this is the second take of this interview. Should I tell them?
Go ahead.
Listen, we taped this episode like if it was a Tuesday, news changed on a Wednesday morning at like 1:00 in the morning. We taped this the day before KD got traded to the Phoenix Suns, and we had it was ready to go, edited, pressed, and we're recording this now. It's Tuesday afternoon, Valentine's Day, about 2:30 Eastern time. We had to do it again because there was so much that we talked about that's null and void at this point.
I know. And we've literally talked 30 minutes before we've recorded each time. So it's been awesome. But yeah, excited to run it back, take two.
Yes. So tell me something. When you hear the number 48, what do you think?
I knew you were going to ask that again, man. I just think about the summertime. What a time it was. It makes me laugh each time, but I appreciated you. That was really kind of the start of our relationship. But man, what a crazy summer. Ended up being an incredible summer for me and my family. And yeah, I'm excited.
Adam Harrington was an assistant coach for many teams. He was a shooting coach and worked with the Oklahoma City Thunder. You've worked in different capacities with other teams, the Houston Rockets, and more recently, the Brooklyn Nets. You were an assistant coach. You have a connection to KD. I know people often associate you as just KD's guy. But for those who are listening, you left the Brooklyn Nets a while back. And people were kind of wondering, if I'm not mistaken, were a bit quiet. So for the general consensus, what happened there?
Yeah, it was just to be honest, it was just a time. It was time for a change. It was definitely mutual. I had several conversations with Sean, even throughout the year. That last year I was with the team. But, I did 6 years. It was an incredible – I had my dream job here, director of player development, assistant coach, build up a young team, Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, Sean Kilpatrick, Karis LeVert, Joe Harris, Jared Allen, all those guys. I was a part of building that. And then obviously, years later be reconnected with KD and have Kyrie come and guys of just these elite status. So was able to kind of see and do it all. And learned a ton from Kenny Atkinson. Obviously been friends with Steve Nash for 20-something years since we played together in Dallas. So mentored by Jacque Vaughn for 6 years. Just an incredible experience. But it was time. I guess 7 years ago, I walked away from an extension in Oklahoma City as well. A lot of people thought I was crazy, but just had some things on my heart, things that I'm passionate about. And every time I've kind of walked these things out in faith, it's worked out for the best. So this was an opportunity for me to re-engage with my family. Something that we all sacrifice, especially, and everybody sacrifices, and every sacrifices are different. But I have 4 kids with my wife, and it was just really, really important for me to have this time with them and kind of figure out what's next. And it's been super rewarding, super challenging. All of a sudden you're a full-time dad and, co-parenting to a certain extent and learning each other's movements throughout the day because I used to travel so much. But it's been really rewarding and we've really enjoyed it.
Scoopy Radio in your airwaves, on the camera, on your podcast app, everywhere you need to be. I'm Brendan Scoopy Robinson, joined by my main man, Adam Harrington. Brother, you definitely have enjoyed the travels, the moves and grooves, both as a player as well as a coach. I guess from your perspective, looking at the Nets and looking at the moves that they made with Kai and made with Kevin, which did you like more on their new team and why?
I thought it was, obviously being involved in it for so long, I never thought Sean Marks always finds a way. He's been incredible since the day he started there. So really cool to see him navigate them and the whole organization, navigate and make these moves. And personally, have an incredible relationship with Spencer Dinwiddie. So always cool to have a brother back in the area to go enjoy a nice fine glass of wine or tequila and talk about his family and everything he's got going on. So super excited. But yeah, I think the Nets, they retooled. They got some really nice pieces and Jacque's doing an incredible job. So just excited to see how that unfolds. And then obviously when you take Kyrie's talent and you take it to Dallas with Luka and everything they got going on and how Jacque can pour into him and mentor him a little bit. Jared Dudley, somebody I'm close with that we had here in Brooklyn. He's on that staff too. I know he has a relationship with Kai. So excited to see that. Anytime you kind of have that type of talent in the backcourt, it's always exciting. And then Kevin, obviously, Phoenix is an incredible quality of life out there with and then with the roster, that they have. I know Kevin is a big fan of Devin Booker and Chris Paul and all those guys. So them guys coming together. It's just excited to see for Kevin. It's something that he wanted and he was able to work it out. So just excited to see how that unfolds for him as well. Him being reconnected with Monty Williams and Mark Bryant, some amazing coaches on their staff. So really excited to see him. And now this year I'm just a fan. So I get to sit back, put it on the big screen and watch all these, high level athletes go at it.
But that doesn't mean your phone's not ringing.
Yeah, it's ringing. I'm involved in a lot of things now, so we'll definitely see what's next. We're just finishing out. As this time of year, a lot of things start moving and grooving. I just got off the phone with my agent today and just kind of getting updated and to letting him know where I'm at. But I'll be honest, Scoop, I really enjoyed it. I tried to reconnect on the high school level, the college level. I just got back from spending 2 days at Auburn University with Bruce Pearl and his staff and working with one of his players. I went overseas to see Will Weaver in Paris, to be around the Euro Cup, EuroLeague game. Heavily involved with the WNBA because of Sabrina. I really liked the Liberty's GM. So I've just picked his brain and poked around it. So trying to be involved in all levels to help shape me as a better person and a better coach for whatever is next. And, I have my own gym here in New Jersey. So doing a lot of stuff there, honing my skills. But yeah, I'm excited for whatever's next, but I'll be honest, have no clue. And it's a decision, when some things come our way that, me and the family will make, but we're excited.
You got some time. You got some time. Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges, I know they're calling Mikal Bridges Brooklyn Bridges now. That's his nickname now. What do you make of that for the youth movement, along with Cam Thomas, along with Yuta Watanabe, like even Ben Simmons, like they have Joe Harris, Seth Curry, when all those guys are healthy, they're competitive and they're fun to watch. What do you make of this new roster?
Yeah, it's exciting, man. There's some lineups that they could put out there that would just be terrifying to try to score on. You talk about length and athleticism and size, and they put together. And I was telling somebody the other day, like the availability of guys like Spencer and obviously Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, those guys, like when you're trying to build something and get connectivity and build a brotherhood, having guys available night in and night out is a big thing. So I think they'll find their chemistry really quick because those guys have historically play every game and practice every day. It's one of the things I loved about Spencer over those years in Brooklyn. Like he never missed a day, never missed a workout with me, never missed a practice, and he never missed games. So it's exciting. And Jacque's been through so much in his time there, and this is just another challenge. But it'll be cool to see him put all the pieces together and those guys start to play. And I think Brooklyn's already behind them, the fan base, and they're going to really enjoy this group as they finish the season.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. They've teeter-tottered between 4th and 5th, and they still got to compete with Sixers and as well as Milwaukee and Boston. And then you got some other teams that I think, even the Clevelands. I think Cleveland is not talked about enough, especially since they're signing a veteran in Danny Green, who's been there before. Like, there's a lot. There's no clear-cut East and West, and it's going to be interesting to see. Scoopy Radio here, everywhere with Adam Harrington. You look at Jacque Vaughn. What is it from your perspective that is so different between Orlando and now Brooklyn? Because some people think that Brooklyn, they may forget that he coached before he was a head coach and then became an assistant coach. From your perspective, what is different?
Jacque is somebody that he's just wired for progress. So you look at everything that Jacque Vaughn's ever done in his career. He's been at the highest level and been successful and literally worked his tail off to get there. From playing at Kansas to playing in the NBA to being a journeyman to being coaching. And I think he learned, I know personally how many conversations I've had with Jacque, over a glass of tequila or sitting in the steam room about what he would do different if he ever led again, what he learned from Orlando, and I was as a young coach, was just trying to pick his brain and be like, oh man, how would I build my staff? How would I communicate with my players? So I just think he's done a phenomenal job. He is so buttoned up and dialed in. He's so well-spoken. He gives off this confidence that I think everybody in the room, and then most importantly, those 17 players believe he knows exactly what he's talking about. He's looked at from every angle. And he just has an incredible command of the game, from officials to the timeout to the next play to talking to a player to making sure the benches and I just think he has an incredible feel that gives off this confidence. So it's just brought the best out of his players, and I think everybody enjoys playing for him.
What was Kenny Atkinson like in Brooklyn?
One of the most passionate people I've ever been around. I'll be honest, me and Kenny probably bucked heads a little bit. I'm player development. It's one of my passions. It was Kenny's baby, his bread and butter, like growing up. That's how he made his way into the NBA and into the head coach. So, but it was awesome. I learned so much. And even looking back at it now, we can always have those relationships in our life. I remember leaving college and Cliff Ellis was my coach, and I'm thinking, oh my God, the lessons I learned from him years after. In the moment, I had no clue and I was stubborn and anything, but Kenny was the same thing. I learned so much, and what he put into every day to build what we were trying to build there, him and Sean Marks, and of course, so many people made it possible. But yeah, very intense, but just he researches every angle. He's a sweat equity guy. He's going to get out on the court with you. I think he's hurt himself like in every team he's ever been on, like a major injury because he's out there hooping. But so he was big on that. Obviously this is 6 years ago. I was even younger and even more like, I loved it, getting to bang with the players, play against them. So yeah, he created a culture and so many things that, I took with me for the years after he left. And then obviously wherever I go next, there's a lot of lessons, let alone with player development, just preparation and video and all the things that go into it. Kenny was really, really good at that stuff.
Steve Nash seems to always surround himself around good people. Scoopy Radio with Adam Harrington. Steve Nash, to me, was in a situation where he transcended from point guard to head coach. Most people say that point guards become good head coaches, but it takes some time because they have the leadership quality. You had the ability or the opportunity to be a teammate of his during his career. And of course, you guys are so very ever interconnected between that Nets regime. What was he like as a player? How do you see that transition into him as a coach? Because he did spend time this past couple seasons being a coach.
Steve, I will say, is one of the greatest humans I've ever been connected with. He's one of my dearest friends. I tried to be like him. He's a hero of mine. And, even when I left Brooklyn, I told him, Steve, I love you. You're still a hero. We're going to be friends forever kind of thing. I wanted to eat what he did. I wanted to drink what he drank. Like I said, I told somebody if he drank Molson Canadian, I was drinking Molson Canadian, whatever it was. From my rookie years there in Dallas with him. I trained like him. I followed him around, whatever he did. But just one of the greatest teammates, seeing it up close and personal. You hear all the stories about how many high fives a game. And Steve was constantly breathing life into everybody he came into contact with. And I think that's ultimately what people trusted him. He also was a worker. You always saw him in the gym. You always saw him, before and after practice. You saw him in the cold tub. He was meticulous with what he ate, meticulous with his body. So he led that way as well. But he was, his sense of humor, his ball busting in the locker room, everything. He was just constantly engaged. So he built genuine relationships with his teammates. And you definitely saw that on the coaching side too. Like I said, he was a great communicator, never got rattled, very well prepared. So you saw those transitions there. And it wouldn't surprise me, like anything in Steve's life, you look at even his career in the NBA, it didn't start out well. People forget about those Phoenix days, forget about him getting booed in Dallas when he had a back injury. Steve has always found success in everything he does. So, and the way he carries himself, I still look up to it. He's an incredible father, incredible husband. And I'm always impressed at how he's able to manage it all and keep the spirit that he has.
Who are some of your coaching mentors?
My biggest one is Scotty Brooks. He's the reason, him and KD, that I really got involved in the NBA. And I'm forever grateful to both of them. I talk to Scotty daily. He's been amazing. Mike D'Antoni was a really unique one. From being connected in Brooklyn that year. Really enjoyed being around him. Love staying in touch with Will Hardy, from when he was assistant. Now he's having success, but just a great guy. Recently connected with Brett Brown, more on the family side, about how coaches are raising sons that play basketball. So he's given me great insight. Will Weaver, who, I was in Brooklyn with and now is over in Paris basketball, is whatever Will has done, he's been successful as one of the brightest basketball minds, I think. He's been he's always somebody that I would bounce something off. So yeah, there's a lot, but Scotty being my main one, it's been a fun journey with him, and I love talking to him every day.
So you segued into two things that I'd love to brush up on Scoop B Radio with Adam Harrington. You talked about KD and your connectivity to Oklahoma. What are workouts with KD like?
Yeah, super efficient, super detailed, super focused. We are a footwork, balance, power, energy kind of thing. It's evolved through the years. One thing we were always about was quality over quantity. And it was really important as Kevin, every year as he continued to play in the league, that we just got even more and more efficient. But as a trainer, Kevin makes it super easy. I always joke, Kevin comes into every workout with this wide-eyed wonderment. I tell the story, if you remember going to Disney World for the first time, little kid, I have 4 kids, like that. Oh my God. That made Kevin every workout like that. If you can help him become 1% better on the basketball floor, Kevin's all about it. But it better directly correlate to him becoming a better basketball player. It better be relevant and challenging. So it's always been fun. Kevin had a connection to wanting to, he loved Dirk Nowitzki. So obviously I spent all that time training with Dirk and his trainer, Holger Geschwinder, who's really the foundation for everything that I kind of do now. So it was an interesting segue into that. But so it's been really, really unique to develop it over the years. But Kevin is if I throw it to him and it didn't feel right, he's going to throw that ball back, and it's going to, it's going to feel balanced. It's going to feel right. Like every rep is perfect. Like I said, it's not 100 perfect ones. It might be 3 perfect ones, and then we're on to the next thing. But I will tell you this: in the 1,000+ workouts I've ever had, and blessed enough to have with Kevin, he's never said, "Hey, I want to do this or that." Like, he is literally, whatever you got for me, let's do it. And I think that's what makes him special, let alone that he's training with me. But Kevin just has this, he is a basketball junkie and wants to learn anything and everything he can to become a better basketball player.
What's the temperature in the gym? Literally, what is the music being played? And what are you guys having for snack in between?
No snacks, man. No snacks.
Okay.
Oh, the temperature. No, it depends. I'll tell you what. That's the other cool thing is we've been in some gyms that you wouldn't think. The year I was with just Kevin, I would, I'd fly and I'd cold call and find a gym. We're landing in Sacramento, and don't get me wrong, it's not hard to say, hey, can Kevin Durant come work out your high school gym? You know what I mean? And we would find in some of the gyms, we were in a gym in Turks and Caicos this summer. It is not somewhere you would, you know what I mean? But we made everything special. Everything was home. Everything was about a 10-foot hoop and an NBA leather Wilson ball that I always traveled with, 2 in my carry-on bag. So it could be hot and sweaty. It could be really cold. There was no perfect thing. We're definitely sipping on some water or some BioSteel or something. But yeah, that's it, man. And that was our great thing. We hooped, and then we would go hang out. We would have a nice lunch. We would talk. We would hang out. If we were in the Turks, we might go jet skiing. But it was kind of, we adopted the kind of hoop and vibe thing. And it was just really cool to see Kevin kind of bring some other players along and just kind of build that brotherhood. And I was in my element that I can help anybody in front of me on the basketball court. And also just truly enjoy it and be a really good person. Like it was a dream situation for me.
Kyrie Irving will be a free agent this summer. Would you like to see them become teammates again somewhere else?
I don't know what they're gonna do. That's a great question. I don't know. People always be like, I talk to Kevin about a lot of things, but I think Kevin's open to everything, and I think Kevin enjoys enjoys basketball at a high level. He appreciates everybody's craft. I have never heard Kevin say one bad thing about another player. And it's actually inspired me through the years. I might have talked to you about it before we got on, but just the ability to appreciate greatness. And even in my years in Brooklyn, I was around such greatness from the coaching staff to the players to the performance, all that stuff. And I really sometimes had to look around and be like, man, I need to appreciate this moment. How can I take this in? And I think Kevin, I love, and like I said, he encourages me in that everybody's really, really good at what they do. So I know those times that I was able to be around Kyrie, work out with him, coach him and stuff like that. I really appreciated how good he was at his craft and seeing it firsthand. So I know Kevin appreciates that. And, now going to be able to play with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Devin Booker is one of my favorite players in the NBA. My son, we model after the way he plays and we watch all his film and stuff. So I know even Kevin will get better just by watching Devin Booker, and he will be obsessed with what makes Devin Booker kind of tick and what could I potentially take from him. And so, I think Kevin appreciates all the great players in this league.
I rock with it. You made mention of Kyrie being from West Orange and you guys being Glen Ridge based. There must be some type of West Orange Glen Ridge rivalry because I know your son plays at Seton Hall Prep.
Yeah, no, we're definitely, since our relationship started, a lot of trash talk. Kyrie said, Kyrie played for multiple schools. We will say that. So,
yes.
But he always talks about whooping up on Glen Ridge when they were young. So, and then my oldest son and now my middle 10-year-old son, they're beating up on West Orange all the time. So now I talk trash to him. But yeah, just a great friendship. Obviously cool. I've been able to do some things with the gym I built in the area, which is in Orange, New Jersey, about 6 minutes from where Kai grew up. And obviously through my sister's charity, we are refurbishing a court in Orange, New Jersey. So it's just really cool. Kyrie has an incredible passion for, or a charitable heart, philanthropic. So it's cool. We talk about a lot of those things. And for us and my family, anytime we could make a difference, it meant a lot to us too. So we had a lot of commonalities in that as well.
I have to imagine that you being active off and on in the NBA as a coach, you having played, and your son playing high school basketball, your eldest, and going through that process, that it sometimes maybe the constructive criticism he may not receive, or it's hard to flip the switch on and on with being dad and being coach.
Yeah, super difficult. I went into this year really excited about it. And I'll be honest, all the dads out there, it was way harder than I thought. I thought it was going to be easy. I get more time with my son, and he's just turned 16. You're navigating those teenage years, and he's playing varsity and all those pressures and things. So it's really helped me take a step back, really find a different angle to approach my relationship with my son, have my dad hat on, have my coaching hat on. But I will tell you this, I joke with him often. I'm like, gosh, I can get Spencer or Kevin Durant or somebody to listen to some of my advice. I can't even get my own son. But we always talk about people told me the power of the alternate voice. So sometimes it's somebody else that shares the same thing, saying the same thing you say. Because I often will work with young athletes or college and be like, the dad will be like, man, I say that all the time. They're just hearing it from me. It's a different voice, the power of the alternate voice. So I try to have those influence in my son's life as well. But it's been fun. I haven't missed a game. Don't know if I'll ever have a chapter like this in my life again. So I'm trying to enjoy every moment of it. But our relationship has grown so much, and I'm so thankful that I was able to have this time in my life to really pour into it.
The power of the alternate voice or word. Is it voice or word?
You can use voice or word, but yeah, you think of so essentially you're trying to find somebody that shares the same as you, that literally will say the same message to you, but it's the power of the alternate voice. So sometimes how we hear something, we've heard it for a while, but you hear it from a different voice. Oh, okay, yeah. And I do it all the time too. My mom could probably say how many times I've done that. Somebody, So, but it's good. That's why I think, everybody always talks. It takes a community, and we're all in this together. And
Captain Planet said it best. The power is yours. Brother, thank you for using your voice, your power, your intuition, and all that. I know you've got a busy schedule ahead, but brother, anytime you want to jump on by again, you're more than welcome to come by Scoopy Radio.
Oh, man, thanks for having me.
My brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.